I've been a self-taught software engineer for the last 10 years, and this video is to talk about all the lessons I've learned being in tech without a formal computer science degree. I have grown a lot in these 10 years, even without a computer science degree, but there are lessons I wish somebody told me when I joined, which could have accelerated my career. And this video hopefully helps other people trying to transition into tech in the year 2024. Lesson 1 is that everybody is figuring it out. And just because you have a computer science degree does not mean that you figure out issues faster or more efficiently. I found this the hard way when I was on call for the first time. I had this problem statement given to me and I could not solve it. And I had to escalate to this principal engineer who checked all the boxes when it comes to expertise. He went to a fancy university, he had a computer science degree, and he had several years of experience. But I remember him looking at the problem just like I did, with the same frameworks, intuitions, and systems. And that taught me how, after a certain point in your career, your degree is no longer relevant. And everybody starts looking at the corporate problems or the system design issues from a beginner's mind. And that gave me so much confidence. I no longer had this imposter syndrome of not belonging at the table. Because until then, I always used to believe that people with fancy degrees and highly educated credentials and lots of years of experience had it all figured out. And because of that, I used to be very shy in meetings and not ask questions to senior engineers or principal engineers, even if it involved my own career or the day-to-day job. The engineering degree is only a way to get into the door. And after that, playing field is level almost. And you got to keep learning and you got to put in a lot more effort as a self-taught engineer. But you definitely belong to the table because somebody had confidence in you to hire you. And I have a couple of practical tips to overcome the imposter syndrome. One is to inquire if your company has a mentorship program and sign up as both a mentor and a mentee. And when you sign up as a mentor, try to pick people who are not from a graduate school or do not have a fancy computer science degree. I really believe that will teach you things that you might not learn from books or videos. And similarly, get yourself a mentor who went to these schools, has all these credentials, and you will learn that he or she does not know anything that you do not. And you will also learn from them if they are good at their job. The second lesson I would like to impart to other engineers entering the industry is to not skip steps with learning. And I mean two things here. When you got into the tech industry as a self-taught engineer, you likely mastered the data structures and algorithms, and you are really good at a single programming language. And these are the things that are required to enter the tech industry now, for better or worse. But then once you enter the industry, I really recommend trying to fill in the gaps of what a computer science education would teach you. And I did not do that until much later, and I really regret it. For example, I did a project which involved migrating services to the cloud, specifically AWS. And all I knew was data structures and algorithms, programming language, and the fundamentals of computer science. I would have been much better served if I'd known in more detail networking and operating systems. The second thing I mean when I say don't skip lessons with learning is to ask for feedback at the end of every project. And this is more critical for self-taught engineers because they don't know what they don't know. You'll understand these blind spots only if you ask for feedback at the end of each project. And for computer science graduates, they might have learned this in school, but as a self-taught engineer, you have to be a little more intentional to ask for constant feedback. The third lesson I would like to impart is to not chase the shiny domain. In the previous example, I spoke about getting really good at all the fundamentals of computer science, even if you don't use them. This one is slightly different, and this one is about focus on one domain and do it really well. I believe early on in your career, you should try different things like AI, crypto, and see what your passion is. But then once you figure out what your focus area is, then you got to dig deep into it and achieve mastery. And if you do that, you will level the playing field with other engineers who have specialized in their specific fields during grad school. The fourth lesson I would like to impart which I realized too late, was to join a tech startup as early as possible. This is a huge leveler. And if you join a tech startup instead of joining a large company, you will learn a lot of skills which you are totally unqualified for. You will learn the business side of things, and you will work with the smartest people who might help you later in your career. Next lesson I would like to impart is to not ignore soft skills. By soft skills, I mean negotiation, communication, both written and verbal, and how you present yourself. Every job eventually becomes a sales job as you get older and more experienced. You got to be able to sell your design documents. You got to be able to convince your manager to give you a promotion or a raise and so on. I really think that getting good at communication is like any other skill, and it gets better over time. And my 2 practical tips for getting better is to really believe what you're saying, and you should try it in meetings. If you really articulate what is deep inside of you, you will communicate really well, and articulate in simple language. And this gets better and better as you start writing down your thoughts. As the demand for AI jobs keeps increasing and the engineering education gets more expensive, I predict that there will be a lot more people trying to transition into tech jobs from non-traditional backgrounds. And I hope the tech industry encourages all kinds of learning, not just computer science graduate school education. If you're a self-taught engineer, I hope you're extremely proud of the journey that you have taken to both get into tech and also survive here. I truly believe that my lack of professional education has made me more open-minded and willing to try new things. The best engineers, philosophers, thinkers, and scientists are all self-educated. They did not go through an education system, and so you are standing on the shoulders of giants like Charles Darwin, Leonardo da Vinci, and Srinivasa Ramanujan. I want to end with this quote, which hopefully makes you feel very proud of being a self-taught software engineer and your journey in the tech industry so far. Thank goodness I was never sent to school. It would have rubbed off some of my originality. Beatrix Potter. Thank you. Hope to see you next time.